Welcome to Jumpsuiters, a podcast where we explore higher dimensional topics in a practical 3D reality sort of way. Today I'm going to ask you a simple question. What are you looking at? I know you've heard this phrase before, perception is reality, but I'm curious how much you've actually played with it. Most people seem to have some level of awareness that external things like the news and social media and Reddit threads have an impact on their experience of reality. They can see how these things impact their mood or their mental health, but not everyone seems to realize that they are actually the ones in control of what they choose to look at. Many of us live our lives completely unaware that at any point we have the power to change our algorithm. Like literally, we can search for and click on different things. We have the power to put down our phones, go outside, and feel the sun on our face. But what about our non-digital algorithm? Can we change that too? Like, can we actually leave that relationship, start a business, change our beliefs, change our minds? While we can't always control everything externally, we can control what we choose to look at and how we choose to perceive it. Life is like an algorithm, and I mean this in a metaphysical way. The more we focus on something, the more energy we put towards it. The more energy we put towards something, the more likely the universe will serve that back to us. It's kind of like tuning forks. You smack one and it starts to vibrate, and then all of a sudden across the room, another tuning fork in the same key or frequency will start automatically vibrating right back. It's science, and it's spirituality. I think we're here to remember who we are, that we're literally the creators of our own reality. The algorithm of the universe doesn't judge, it simply responds. It amplifies whatever you focus on. And if you don't believe me, it might be because you've bought into a narrative for so long that says you don't have the power, that it belongs to something or someone outside of you. But what if you do? If you're here, there's a clear invitation I'm bringing to you, which is the opportunity to experiment with the idea that whatever you focus on, the universe assumes you want more of. Have a fixation on fear, more fear is going to show up. Preoccupied with, germs, they're fucking everywhere. Convinced that humanity's ultimately good, you're going to see it. So the first thing we need to do is become aware of what we're feeding our algorithm. Hand your phone to a friend, and it's going to be a wildly different experience of reality than theirs. Get honest about your mind. What are you ruminating on? And how are these ruminations making you feel? An active mind tends to lead to suffering. In quantum physics, there's a concept called superposition. And it revealed to us that particles exist in all possible states until they're observed. Once a perceiver takes a peek, they collapse into one particular state or reality. You can imagine this like a spinning coin. Is it heads or tails? Well, it's both until your eye looks at it and takes a screenshot. Then a choice has been made. It's one thing. Every choice you make, every observation creates a feedback loop. The more you focus on something, the more of it you see. Like there's a reason we call it doom scrolling. We get stuck in a cycle of negativity, and the algorithm keeps serving us more of that because it thinks that's what we want. We forget that at any moment we can type in literally anything like birds or old people in love or whatever else we want to look at. So to get out of the phone for a moment, the same thing can happen in your physical life. Without awareness, you can easily get stuck focusing on what's wrong, your past traumas, your future anxieties, your own self-hatred, and the universe will keep reflecting those things back to you. But awareness can break the loop. Awareness allows you to pause and say, wait, why am I looking at this? What meaning am I making of this? What sensations or emotions is being caused in my body because of this? And what happens if I choose to look at something else? When you bring awareness to your focus, you stop feeding energy to the things that no longer serve you and start feeding energy to the ones that do. So with social media, if you want to see more of something, you engage with it, you like it, you comment, you share it. In life, it's the same damn thing. Engage with the things you want more of: happiness, connection, self-love. Energy follows attention, so pay attention to what you're looking at. You can even say out loud, to the universe, this is what I want more of. And if there's something that comes up inside of you that feels like, well, that won't happen or you don't deserve it or whatever, just notice that. Don't agree with it. Don't over-identify with it. You're not the thoughts that run through your head. You're not the emotions that you're feeling. That's what we do when we're unconscious. We think that we are those things, so we get reactive and we get stuck and we spend our entire lives experiencing suffering as a result. Instead, realize that you are the observer, the one outside of those things who can notice them and consciously choose what it is you're going to look at. Like, I'm not saying to completely ignore everything that's painful or that you disagree with. I'm not asking you to spiritually bypass anything. All I'm saying is pay attention to what's happening inside of you and consciously decide if you want to continue to look at that thing, because it's the paying attention that's going to help get you unstuck. It's going to open up new possibilities and give you the power to choose your new reality. When you start to tune into the frequencies that you want to be in tune with, then you start to embody the energy of that reality, and the universe responds to it. The algorithm adjusts to match it. And the universe's algorithm isn't being tinkered with by some higher power like they do with X or Meta. The universe is more neutral than that. You're not a passive participant in what the algorithm serves. You're the goddamn programmer. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every observation you have is programming the quantum field. The algorithm of your life isn't happening to you, it's responding to you. And if you don't like what you're seeing, the good news is you have the power to change it. Shift your focus, expand your awareness, and start creating the life that you want. And I bet some of you are thinking, that's not true. I can't really control everything. But I never said it was your job to control everything. You can't control climate change or your mom's lack of boundaries or whatever is going on out there, but you can control what you look at, how you perceive it, and how you perceive it will be your reality. Like, you have got an entire life of programming that's literally changed your brain. You experience a trigger and your neural network fires before you even have a chance to think about it. So becoming conscious is becoming aware of what's happening, taking a moment to pause and making a decision that's different than maybe what you would have done before unconsciously, so you can rewire your brain, so you can consciously begin to project a new reality. This is going to help grow your awareness of you as the observer, so you stop identifying with everything that's happening. Instead, you shift your attention to what's happening inside. And what's happening is what you choose to look at. There are a lot of different tools that can help you practice this. Meditation. One of the things that's really helped me is practicing presence, which, by the way, is the only thing that's real. So when anxiety comes about the future, or regret and shame come from the past, get present. Pay attention to what you're currently experiencing, what you're currently focusing on, and how it's making you feel. And some of us, and I'm guilty of this one, over-focus on the future. What's going to happen with AI? What about the economy? Is the apocalypse going to happen? Even fun things like, where are we going to move next and what's my next project? All of these things keep me from being present. And you can't be a good observer if you're not in the present. And the reason you're not present is probably because there's something happening inside that you don't like experiencing within your brain or your body. So we can easily get stuck in a loop. Observe the loop. Don't look away. See it, acknowledge it, feel it, and at any point you want, you can decide to look at something else. There's a framework that I learned that I find really helpful, and it's called SIBAM. It stands for sensations, images, behaviors, affect, and meaning. You can think of these things like different TV channels being experienced in your body. If one channel is no longer serving you, you can consciously flip to another. For example, when I find myself stuck in meaning making, like I'm making up a story, I can turn my awareness to behavior and take action. I can give someone a call, go on a walk, eat something, and that will help get me out of that fixation. But maybe I'm noticing that I'm just unconsciously jumping into action. So then I can slow down and look at an emotional affect that I might be experiencing and avoiding. Boredom, anger, sadness. Maybe that's starting to feel too overwhelming. And when it is, I can turn my attention to something else, like a sensation. What does this emotion feel like? Is it buzzing in my hands? Constriction in my throat? Right? These are all awareness practices for what's happening on the inside. And they're important because if we don't learn to tend to our inside, of course, we're going to prefer bringing our awareness to the outside. And if we're not conscious about what we're looking at on the outside and how it's impacting us on the inside, then we suffer. So what are you looking at? How are you perceiving it? And more importantly, how will you use your personal power to create your new reality? Try it. Take a day. Pay attention to what you're looking at. You might just observe your own sovereignty. This podcast episode was sponsored by Jumpsuit, a creative agency powered by the Independent Network. For more content or conversations like this, please join our Patreon as we continue to jump into all sorts of existential shit. Patreon.com/Jumpsuiters.